Hi everyone, it's Dr. Hafez. This video is for everyone that's doing the NDEB process and interested in the university pathway. In this specific video, we're going to learn about University of Toronto's IDAP program, from requirements to fees to timeline. How long does it really take? So that's what this video is about. Let's get started. It used to be that it was always, you want to do AFK, then think, okay, can you apply to universities? But with the recent, changes where some universities are asking for ADAT, I thought it would be a good idea to create the series where we could discuss each university's requirements so that there's more information out there for applicants to find and just become a little bit easier for them to find this information. So we want to discuss the NDEB university pathway, and in this video we're going to talk mainly about UOFT's program. And we want to discuss the timeline, because some people think, when they hear UOFT, they think it's 2 years. But is it really just 2 years when you consider all the things, right? So again, let's begin with this so that it's not too long. University of Toronto, the program that's there, you have to get into the IDAP program. So it's called the International Dentist Advanced Placement Program. Okay, in this program you have 24 seats. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to do a summary here in my slides, what information I collected. Then I'm going to go to the website and just look for more stuff if we could find any. Okay, so 24 seats, okay, every year, right? Every cycle. The length of the IDAP itself, or the initial program, is 6 months, plus the 2 years of dentistry that you have to do in the university. So the way the University of Toronto works is that you do 6 months where you kind of do a crash course of year 1 and 2. Okay. Once you finish that 6 months, then you enter the DDS program with all the other dental students there at year 3. So you enter year 3 and you do year 3 and year 4. So you do 2 years of school. So it is minimum, just schooling, 2.5 years. Okay, so this 2-year concept is 2.5 just minimum with schooling. We're not even talking about the application yet. Now, eligibility. Who's eligible? You have to be from a non-accredited dental program, like a 4-year one. That's pretty much the same for all universities. So I'm going to try to make it easier that way too, to let you know what's pretty much universal. So that's for any university. Now I saw this one here in UOFT, is that you need to have a 3 out of 4 minimum grade point average GPA from your dental school. So on their website, there's I think there was an equivalency kind of thing. So you put your university, let's say it's from a certain country, you put that in. You put how much was your GPA, and then it'll calculate what that means in UOFT terms. Okay, or you could just think like 3/4, right? 75% grade from your university. But that's how it was when I applied. Now, so when I applied to, I just put whatever mark average I got from a university, and then it told me if I had an A, B, or C. And as I recall from before, you needed above C, like you needed a B. Now they're saying that it's a 3 out of 4. So of course you need a Canadian citizenship and PR, and you need to have this by July 2nd. That's when the application deadline is for each year. So you need this. This is kind of universal for all schools as well, all universities. And you want English proof, same thing. This is universal. So these things you want to make sure you have, especially the English proof, okay, for any university. Okay, important dates. Now this is where we're going to understand the timeline a little bit more. Okay, now April 1 is when the application opens. So April 1 to July 2nd. So let's draw here 1. Okay, so April starts, let's assume it's 2021, just to see how long this may take. And then the application deadline is July 2nd. Okay, so here you did your application. Now, June, July, August, September, you're going to know if you are invited, right, to their interview. And then in October, you do the interview. So UOFT requires an interview. There's no actual clinical exam for it. And then if you get in, the IDAP program begins in Jan. Okay, so this is where IDAP begins. And it goes all the way. So now we're in Jan 2022. So now it goes all the way until June. And then once you're done with the IDAP program, you enter year 3 in August. So June, July, August, right? August 2022, you enter year 3 dentistry. And then you want to go all the way to the next August 2023, which is year 4 now. And then you'll graduate in August of 2025, where you'll be, 4, where you'd be done, right, with the university program. So now looking at this, how long did it really take? So yes, it's 2 years in DDS, right? Then you have 6 months here. What about this application period when interviews, right? From April to Jan or July, or so let's say April, May, June, July. Let's count it from May. This is 8 months. So now you have 8 months plus 2 years and a half. So that's 3 years and 2 months, right? So you could say 3 years and 2 months. Now that's even, we didn't even calculate the phases before that. So before UOFT used to need AFK exam, right? So preparing for the AFK exam would be 6 months and sometimes a year, and taking it and waiting for your results, right? So let's give that another 8 months just to be fair. Now, recently, they don't want AFK, they want ADAT, but imagine you're applying for ADAT, you're trying to get your English exams, like you're doing TOEFL, you're doing all that. So we could think about those. Let's just give them at least this is going to take you 3.5 years to 4 years, right? This is how I look at university. I don't look at it as just 2 years, right? If you're comparing it to direct. So you want to have that in mind. So good, we got a timeline. So which means that if you are, before we used to talk about it in a way that you're doing AFK. So imagine if you were doing AFK, you would do the one in Feb, Feb, March, maybe in April, you'd get your results, right? And then you could apply, right? However, now you have to think of ADAT, but it's still a good idea to think of it like that, because what you could still do is, I'm going to just draw here. You could still do this, right? So you take a September AFK course, and then in Feb you do the AFK, because you want to open your options. You don't know if you're sure going to university. You do AFK plus you do the ADAT exam when you're able to, right? So you add some material and you could do the ADAT, any American changes, right? But you can use that same things you learned here. Then after this, when you might get your results in March or April. March will be, I don't think it'll get, like, let's say early April or late March. And then here until July, you have that time to apply, right? And plus you could do your English test anywhere here. So you could do TOEFL or IELTS, right? Then when you apply, you go through what we just drew, right? In July, then October, they'll call you for interview. September, I think they'll call you they'll say when you get to interview, then October, and then Jan, you begin the IDAP, right? As we said. So I think that's a good timeline to do it, where, you're doing that, so you don't waste too much time. You're preparing from here for the AFK and ADAT, because most people doing the ADAT are also thinking of AFK, like most likely they're doing AFK, right? Because the only universities now so far that are taking ADAT that I know is that UOFT and McGill. So AFK is also still valid for all the other universities, plus the direct license. So it just makes sense to focus on AFK. Plus, if you want to do the ADAT, then you do it with or after the AFK once you are, just reviewed all the dental material or the dentistry content, right? So taking all this in consideration, that's why I would say this whole thing may take you 3.5 to 4 years, okay? All right, so good, I have that cleared up. Now, if you decide to do the August AFK, what will end up happening is that, let's say you did the August AFK. Let's do another one. So if you do the August AFK, then you will have to wait because this is when the program, so you'll have to wait until April of the year after, right? And that's fine. Maybe you're busy trying to do ACJ and ACS, but if you're planning to do university only, then it doesn't make sense maybe, but still good. Whatever AFK you get in, just do it, all right? But again, the AFK is not required for UOFT. I'm just giving you a plan for universities in general as well. So for this one, it doesn't necessarily work 100%. All right, so anyway, we drew a timeline. You understood that it's going to take 3.5 to 4 years. So how do you apply? Online application form. There's an online application form. There's a non-refundable fee of $275. Proof of citizenship and PR, just a photocopy. Maybe it doesn't say notarized, but most likely maybe you need to have it notarized. So I would just do that. Notarized copy of dental degree and transcripts, and if they're non-English, you got to translate them. All that stuff that now. You should be, if you did the NDEB application, then you should be used to this, right? This stuff. Now the new thing, the ADAT exam. You have to do the ADAT exam for UOFT now, and it's valid within 3 years from when you do it. Okay, we're not going to talk about that exam in this video. We have another video we'll put in the link below about the ADAT exam. We went into it in detail. Okay, now letter of extenuating circumstances of applicable. I guess you could write them like what's happening in your life. Actually, I haven't checked what they mean, but it's if applicable. So I think it's something like, you just write about your circumstances, why you want to get in. This is what I'm assuming. Other universities ask for a resume, so sure. Then English proof. You do like a TOEFL or an IELTS. You must request official test scores to be sent by the testing agency directly to UOFT via this code of the institution. Their institution code is this. Okay, so you did your application. So what's the main big thing about the application? After, the main stuff is the ADAT exam, right? The ADAT exam is what everybody's talking about. Oh no, UOFT switched from AFK to ADAT, right? It's one university, but it's a big deal because now if you want to get into UOFT, it's ADAT. Western University is still AFK. So if you're in Ontario and you want to get into university, you still have Western. We'll talk about the Western pathway in another video. Okay, interviews. So once you are done with your application and they have all your info, they will call you for an interview. They'll contact you via email and say, hey, at the end of September, they'll tell you, you know what, you deserve to get an interview with us, and that'll be in October. Now, once you do the interview, then they decide, and UOFT's interview is not, it's an interview where they want to test out your personality. So they might ask you questions like, hey, if you owned a restaurant and you found money missing or something, right? And that employee worked there, what would you do, right? And you have to answer in a way that is kind of like, they want to see how you approach things. So maybe you'll say, oh, if I have cameras, I'll check my cameras first. You have to, there's a technique to it. You just have to be approachable. You have to show them that, you're not aggressive as well. Like, so there's certain ways of doing it. So you do the interview. Also, when I did it, there was a personality, there was like a psychological multiple choice question to see that you're consistent, for example, like what's your favorite color, stuff like that. I'm not sure if that's still there because I don't see it, but they did it for us on the day of the interview. So that's what happened with me. And if you are wondering, yes, I got accepted. I just continued with the direct pathway because it worked out for me. Okay. So once they have all your stuff now, your application, you did your interview, they will select applicants based on their academic achievements, their ADAT scores, and the results of the interview, like if they liked you in the interview or not. Then you'll know by email in mid-November, okay? And then you do a $2,000 non-refundable deposit, and that's it. You get into the Jan IDAP program. So the cost of it is the IDAP itself, the 6 months part, is around $70,000. Okay, and as I remember, this is not covered under OSAP. You have to go to a bank and get this loan, okay, to pay for it. I believe it said on their website that it has to be paid. I might be in a university though. We'll check it when we get into the browser section. Year 3 and 4 each is around 40 something thousand. So you're looking at at least around 150 just tuition fees. Okay, and you want to bump that up to 200. Okay, so again, It's going to be around 4 years and around 200K. Okay. All right. So I'm not going to talk about Western today. Let's go to the browser section. And okay, I'm just going to, there you go. So you could just type IDAP like this, UOFT, and you'll get this link, okay? So it shouldn't be hard to find. Now, the international dental, okay, let's see what we have. IDAP at a glance. So number of seats, 24 places they have. 6 months of the program, 2 years, and then in DDS. You can see all the stuff we looked at. 4-year non-accredited dental program. That's minimum requirement. 3 grade, English proof, citizenship, all that stuff. Outcome, obviously, you're going to take the NDEB board exams. Here's the important dates. So you can see the IDAP starts in Jan and then the DDS in August. But your application is beginning the year before in April and July. Okay, between April and July. What will you study, I guess, in the IDAP? The stuff? Sure. Okay, dentistry. To apply, you must be, we talked about this. We talked, okay, same thing. How to apply, we went through all of these things too. It's pretty much similar, but it has to be by July 2nd is the deadline. So when we say here April 1st to July 2nd, that's the deadline. Okay, so you have a few months there. All right, we recognize just to see the English test. So TOEFL, what's the mark that you need? Paper-based, 600 out of 677, with the test of written English to be 5 out of 6. Internet-based will be, they want 100 out of 120 with a minimum of 22 in writing. Yeah, I remember that one. They're different. So, and then you have IELTS right here, 6.5 as an average, but none of the actual components should be less than 6. So what I would do is I would do either the TOEFL or the IELTS. For me, I found TOEFL was easier because it was something that's computer based, whereas IELTS, I feel like you have to write with pen or something. I'm not sure if there's a new one, but that's what I remember. Why do I say these two? Because all universities accept TOEFL and IELTS. All this other stuff, I'm not familiar with it, but I don't see it in the requirements for other universities. So I'll stick with IELTS and TOEFL. So here's the interview section. Okay, how we select applicants, when we will let you know. Okay, so again, we talked, they'll let you know at the end of September for the interview in October. And then you'll learn about that you got in right here. This final decision is made mid-November for you to get in Jan IDAP program. Here's the cost of the program. Okay, financial assistance. Let's see if we could find what they could do here. Domestic students. Tuition fees, okay, annual cost, dental instruments, so there's a dental instrument fee as well. International students, see, I don't think you're considered, I'm not sure if you're considered international, because if you have I think that's a different thing, but again, you're gonna have to check with them when you get into this program and everything. But I think they mean here, like you are, if you have a citizenship, then maybe you're domestic and you're just going into the IDAP program. So this is why I'm not gonna follow these. I'm gonna look more at what they said already over here, okay, under the IDAP program itself. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Is there anything else here that I could see that's useful? I think that's pretty much it. I think we covered most of it, and we'll do another video about Western. It's a little bit more complicated, but I pretty much gave you, at least you have a good idea about what it's like and how long it'll take and what the process may be like. Now the ADAT here, if you click on it, it just takes you to the ADAP website where we talk about the ADAT exam. I don't know if they have a minimum requirement. They didn't say anything. It's not like that. I think they they'll just compare scores, right? So there's no minimum requirement where you need to get this or you need to get that, but it's just they'll take all the applicants and see who's, they'll look at all three things: interview, ADAT score, and your GPA or your academic marks from your university. That's all I have for you. And I hope that, you found this beneficial if you're planning to do university, and good luck with your journey. And I'll see you guys in another video.